Welcome to CBS Sports Network's coverage of UFD at the Glen, Speed Energy Stadium Super Trucks Racing rounds 19 and 20 here at this legendary circuit, Watkins Glen International. And with this being the first appearance of Stadium Super Trucks in the Northeast, race fans are about to experience the high-flying action of SST up close for the very first time. Hello everyone, I'm Sean Cermony, and alongside of me is former short track and IndyCar star, Davey Hamilton. Davey, great race and expected here this weekend at Watkins Glen International.
You know, it's so exciting to have these trucks at such a great racetrack and super fast racetrack. We're right along here with Robby Gordon going down into turn one, and as you've noticed, a lot of rain this weekend here, so first time for these trucks at this track, and it's wet. And here's the turn one. The first jump that Robby comes to, you can see him catching almost 300 foot. He's getting in distance in there. Now he's coming up to the famed S's here at Watkins Glen International Raceway. Usually flat out in most cars, but with this rain, you can see Robby so gentle on that steering wheel trying to get up through this area.
Davey, let me ask you, this is one of the first courses with Stadium Super Trucks where there's a lot of off-cambers, both directions here and there. How is that going to be throughout these 7 turns being 2.4 miles of track? Is that going to play a role in how they run the truck?
Well, I think one thing they're going to find is drafting. They're getting so much speed here. These trucks are like a brick, really. They're not made for aerodynamics. So it's like a brick going through there. So these trucks behind are going to have a huge advantage getting free air. Here's the second jump right outside of the inner loop here at Watkins Glen. Wow, we see Robby gets really sideways there, off at the grass a little bit. Now this is turn 5. Very tough turn. It's so fast through here, but I mean, it's hard to get grip, and this is where we're going to see a lot of setting up to get passes coming off of turn 5, going down into turn 6. No jumps on this straightaway, so this is going to be a drafting area.
We've seen Stadium Super Trucks in some wet conditions in the past, as it's been kind of throughout the weekend so far up to this point here, but not wet conditions, and of course, this fast with 4 jumps out here, and especially jumps back to back to back. Is that going to make a big difference, you think, in the way these guys perform?
I think so, you know, and I had some experience in the rain down in Florida on a short track, and those ramps being metal, so slick, so if you're on the gas going over those ramps, it could turn you sideways, so this is going to be really exciting to watch today.
And that is coming out of the last and final turn here, turn 7. Here at Watkins Glen International, and that is a lap with Robby Gordon in the Safecraft safety equipment truck. And here's a look at our international points after rounds 18 in Beijing, China just a few weeks ago. Matthew Brabham and Paul Morris, they're having a great battle as a championship, and we were scheduled to run this race earlier today, but then this happened as Bill Hines got into the sand barriers here. Here's another look at it, right up the middle. Should I go right? Should I go left? Couldn't make the decision there. Here's a great onboard. You see him downshifts, boom, runs out of room there. You see Bill downshifts one more time, goes at the ramp. Here's another look at it from behind. So a wild ride there with the cleanup and things. We were scheduled to run earlier today with sunny, but going on errand on the side of safety, as SST and Watkins Glen International always does. We opted to clean it up properly and move the race back later on into the day. So here's our starting grid for round 19 here at UFD at the Glen. Up on the pole, it is Sean Richardson, Eric Davis, Bill Hines. On down, Baumbach, Hoffman. Your faster drivers in the back, that is Robby Gordon, Morris, and Steve Kendall. That is Steve Kendall's first Stadium Super Truck race. He has decided to start all the way in the back as we're on board with Steve Kendall in the 2-1-3 right there, Speed Energy truck. There's Matty Brabham, our current points leader. Look at, he's a little nervous, a little excited, ready to rock and roll. And there's Ironhead. Sean Richardson is about ready to take the green flag, and we're off and running.
How about this? The wet conditions are going to play a big part down into turn 1. Let's just see if they can make it through there first.
Well, you know, you've spent time on this track, and we talked earlier, we've got some off-cambers, we got some different things here that we haven't seen. Then you add the weather to it. These DOT Toyo tires work well in all conditions, but you gotta drive accordingly. I'm expecting to see these guys all over the place.
Wow, what a great first lap for these guys, or first corner, I should say, getting through that in wet conditions. Their first time as well, being on wet, but now coming up to these S's, as we talked about, this is such a fast area, and we can see, look at Robby Gordon making some moves there in the back, trying to get his way to the front right now.
See Robby Gordon, you see him, he's already moved up a little bit. Robby Gordon in the Safecraft safety equipment truck. As you said, starting in the back, these guys are the faster guys in the back. It is Gordon, it is Morris, it is Baumbach, all the guys that qualified well in the back. They are making their way up right now, but how about vision in something like this? There are no windshields on this. Some of them have tear-offs, but then you get a little water. Matty Brabham in the Developus truck. He gets off into the grass a little bit there. He's able to hang on to it. He gets back in front of, looks like Jeff Hoffman right there, able to hang on to that spot. So they got kind of a learning curve real quick here on lap 1. How fast can I go? How much can I push it? The rain has stopped, but is it going to dry up, and is that going to make a difference for them, Dave?
And they're going to try to find the dry spots if it does dry up. And we see actually a tear-off. Look at the right side right there in the deal. You see a tear-off that they've pulled because your vision, just look at the lens of the camera, that's what they have to deal with. So it's hard to see for sure. But how about Matty Brabham? He probably has the most experience on the rain from all of his background right now. Finds himself into third right behind Eric Davis, putting the pressure on him coming off this first lap.
And that's what you expect right now out of a guy like Brabham. And you see out front, Sean Richardson, they call him Ironhead. He's out of the UK, living half the time in the States, half the time in Australia. He's running really well. Here is Eric Davis on board. Great shot of the DeVillibus driver, number 83 of Matty Brabham. Talk about using the draft right there. Gets bomb halfway around down the straightaway, pulls to the inside there. And you had mentioned earlier, Dave, the draft is like pushing a brick. There's punching a big hole in the air here, and it's making a difference. It's working.
And we watch, look at Eric. When he goes in that corner, he got on the brakes a little too much. The front end slid out. He has to get back on track to make sure he hits his first step. Oh, he misses it, which is okay as long as you don't gain any position. But as you can see, he's fallen back just a few.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Davey. If you err on the side of safety in Stadium Super Trucks, you can miss a jump instead of hitting it with two wheels and crashing or taking another driver out or what have you. You cannot gain ground, and you most certainly cannot gain a position. But right now, Matty Brabham, he's using his experience and using the draft here as he just smokes by Sean Richardson. Bad news, though. Robby Gordon, the number 7 safety equipment truck, he's been on this track. He's done some laps before. He's won races here in NASCAR. He knows what it takes. He sees Matty Brabham doing it. He's like, I'm going to be part of that show, too.
And look at his line. Just a little bit different than Matty, just trying to find that spot, the sweet spot in this rain right now. Now, the two most experienced guys right now, those two guys, first and second. Now, you remember, they started towards the back. They've already found their way in the front in this short amount of time, but it's a long ways to go. These competition yellows is going to tighten things up, but you can watch what Robby, he gets to that corner on the low line where Matty's trying to take that high line, but now, who has the advantage, the leader or the guy in second catching that draft?
Absolutely. You see him there, Robby Gordon going wide there, trying to find traction perhaps or what have you, but he knows Robby's going to be smart about it. He's not going to move Brabham out of the way. You know, he knows that there's other fast drivers going to catch up as well, but he's going to keep in mind that there are 2 mandatory competition cautions coming up, with one being right around the corner here. So 9 laps is what the race is scheduled for, but keep in mind there'll be 2 different times where they're going to have a comp caution and bunch the pack back up together again. And our smarter drivers, they know that, hey, we just need to push it so that we get to that last comp caution. We take the final green flag. We need to have a truck that's together, a truck that's working. I have good vision, and move up to the front. Oh, Sean Richardson, Ironhead in the number 12, live United Fiber and Data truck. He goes wide, and once he hit that paint, he really took off. Here we are on board with Richardson, running in a little bit hot, gets on the handbrake, a little too late. He's just along for the ride.
Yeah, you know what, that handbrake, so important on these trucks. My first time in one as well, I grabbed that handbrake and gave it a big jerk. Next thing I know, I'm spinning around. You have to be so gentle on those handbrakes, and Richardson, especially in the wet, probably good in the dry, but in the wet was just a little bit too much. And now here's our first competition yellow right here.
Now we are 3 laps of 9. This is 1 out of 2 competition cautions. Keep in mind, comp cautions are coming out of turn 5. We'll be picking them back up at the start-finish line. We'll be right back in just a little bit with more action from Watkins Glen International.
Stadium Super Trucks on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Toyo Tires. We are Toyo. All or nothing. And by United Fiber and Data. Ingenuity in infrastructure.
Welcome back to UFD at the Glen, Stadium Super Trucks Racing. Earlier today, we had an opportunity to pick up with Bill Hines. Let's see what he has to say.
I'm Bill Hines. I'm the driver of the number 57 United Fiber and Data Stadium Super Truck. I'm also the CEO and founder of United Fiber and Data, so I pull double duty on most weekends. When we started the company and we wanted to just do something totally unique to get the word out there, to say, you know, you put on a, you know, like these other telecom companies, these boring, stuffy commercials. Well, Stadium Super Trucks, United Fiber and Data, we definitely dance to the beat of a different drum. Stadium Super Trucks is totally different in all forms of motorsport. It's almost combining stock car racing with motocross racing. And look at this truck behind me, how pretty it is. It's flying through the air like Superman sometimes. Even when it goes bad, it goes pretty good. I like to say Stadium Super Trucks is uncontrolled chaos. So we have 3 trucks, and the third truck is, we kind of put the best person in it depending on what country we're in. But the second truck is a full-time driver, Paul Morris. He's V8 Supercar fame. He's the only driver to win the Bathurst 6-hour, the Bathurst 12-hour, and the Bathurst 1000. He's been in Indy Lights. He's just drive the wheels off anything. I go down to the Gold Coast, and he has a track down there with the Norwell Motorplex, and takes me on a skid peg, takes me on the track, and he really has stepped up my game. But also kudos to Robby Gordon. I go to his track in North Carolina, and he works with me a lot, and I'm really getting close to these guys that have been driving for 20, 30 years, so it's been very exciting.
All right, so that's a word from Bill Hines, big supporter of Stadium Super Trucks Racing, as we're on board with him right now, about ready to take the green flag. We are 1 competition caution down. 3 of 9 laps are in the record books as we get ready to take the green flag here momentarily. It is off. Out in front, 2 of the fastest drivers in Stadium Super Trucks history. It is Brabham with Gordon. Gordon dives to the inside. Is he able to make it stick? Oh, Brabham blows it all on his own. He goes wide, gets off into the paint, over to the fans, gets an opportunity to wave to his fans there. And Robby Gordon, he's off and running. Behind him, we got Gavin Harlan. He's in the Royal Purple truck. Behind him, it is Paul, the Dude Morris, in the United Fiber and Data live truck. So 3 fast drivers. The young driver right in the center there in second place, that is Gavin Harlan. He's had 6 podiums in a row this year, so he's a threat to these guys as we're on board right now with Matty Brabs. He goes wide, he's like, man, I'm in so much trouble. Even my dad's here to watch this weekend, and that's what I do. But I don't think it's over for Matty Brabham. We still got another comp caution coming up.
Well, that's how you go from first to last in one corner, and it's so easy to do in this rain. Well, a guy with the most experience probably in the rain, but when you got Robby Gordon pressured, right? And he just got in, and the truck just went the wrong direction, right? If it slid the other way, the way of the corner, which is right hand, he probably would have been okay, but just unfortunate. But watch out for Brab, because he's going to be on vigilance coming front.
So right now we are Robby Gordon, Paul Morrison on board with the Royal Purple superstar Gavin Harlan. Harlan running really well up front, like we mentioned earlier. 6 podiums in a row he's had so far this year. He's looking to have another one again as he's racing with the best of the best out in front. On board with the Safegrass Safety Equipment number 7, Robby Gordon. Good look back at Morris. He gets a little bit squirrely. Looks like one driver went wide, another one, Sean Richardson, goes wide as well. A lot of guys kind of blowing turn 1 right there. You're carrying so much speed.
I think they're just getting brave. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, we went just go a little deeper, try to go a little deeper to get a little more speed, and they're just trying to find that edge in this rain. And we see Paul Morris right now chasing down Robby Gordon, still has a chance in this championship. So he's putting the pressure on. We see Robbie's truck much more, it's much straighter than Paul's, and that's key right now. Watch him come through this. Through the inner loop right here, and you kind of get a better look at it.
Well, I think that's probably got a lot to do with Robby Gordon having some track time on this track and also a little more experience in the rain as well. There's got to be pushing 60 years of experience, racing experience between Gordon and Morris right there. You see Gordon gets sideways off the jump, almost gets off in the toolies a little bit, almost mowing the lawn a bit there. But right now, Morris, he's in P2. He can, I wouldn't say relax, he wants to win this race. The dude wants to win every time he gets into a race car, but who's got to push it? That's Matty Brabs. He's the one that's got to push it right now because he's chasing down a championship. As we're on board with Sean Richardson right here. Richardson, he holds it together. Brabham goes wide right there. Brabham might be going out there. You saw Robby Gordon do that early in the race. There might be some traction out there. There might be some concrete, a little maybe some coarse material we can hook up on. And there is Aaron Bombach in the Toyo Tires truck. He gets to the inside of Sean Richardson. Richardson a little bit squirrely. And look at this right now. There is Bombach, the in-car cab. Look at all the water, everything coming down off the roof. That's what it's like if you're not one of the leaders. All this roost, all this rain coming out from all the race cars in front of you. Look how wet inside that race car is. You go to the in-cars of Robby Gordon and Paul Morris, and it's not that wet. It's a little drier, but they are off in the toolies again, up over the paint. Pretty much everybody in the pack has done that at least once this race. At
least once, and we see Paul missing the ramp again, but that's okay. He didn't gain any positions. Now, where you want to be is where you kind of see the track get dull. It's getting dry right there. That's where they're going to have the most traction. But, you have to play around in this rain just to try to get the advantage. Now, we see Hoffman right here putting a lot of pressure on that Royal Purple truck. Now, here's where the drafting comes into play. And we see Matty Brabham even come in to join this fight.
Look at Brabham. As you mentioned, the draft comes into play. Matty Brabham, he's been in a lot of race cars where drafting is important, and he's showing the young men just how important it is. He's covering almost 20 miles an hour more coming up into the bus stop here. Can he make the pass clean? Oh, big contact right there. Brabham decides to go through the grass instead of spinning out. Gavin Harlan just collects himself almost 2 wheels off that jump. Hoffman's like, hey, you guys want to mess around and spin out? I'm going to take advantage of it as we go into our competition caution, our second and final comp caution. So wild racing so far as we got a replay right here.
And we can see Harlan has his right front tire locked up right there. He's on the brakes trying to get that truck to turn. Gets into Brabham just that little bit. Brabham has no choice but to go through the grass. Good thing is these trucks go through grass probably better than they do the asphalt, so no big deal. But both, what a great job driving by Brabham and Harlan. Hoffman's wishing they take each other out, so he gains a couple spots. But these guys gathered it up. As we can see, Brabham coming back on the track to get ready to hit this next jump.
And here's another replay right here on board with Gavin Harlan. Big contact right there. One goes to the inside, one goes to the outside. Harlan almost going off that with just 2 wheels. The speed of 2 wheels, there's the showman himself, Robby Gordon. We are 6 of 9 laps in as we come back for more action from Watkins Glen. And welcome back to CBS Sports Network's coverage of UFD at the Glen here at Watkins Glen International as we take our last and final green flag from race number 1. Robby Gordon out in front, Paul the Dude Morris in P2. And it looks like already up in P3 may just be Matty Brabham going all the way from first to last and back up to the top of the pack. So wild racing with only a handful of laps left to go.
And you can see him getting on that outside line. Ooh, gets in a little bit of a battle there with that royal purple truck of Harlan, but he gets straightened out over that jump. How about that Brabham, though? I mean, coming from getting in the lead, going to last, coming all the way back to third. Not that easy to do it. And like I say, the guys in the championship are now first and second, third, or first, second, third in the championship.
Yeah,
as well.
and that's the thing, with big contact right there. Battle for second place and a battle for the championship, world championship points right there. So that is Matty Brabham in the number 83 orange DeVilbiss truck. There's a great shot of him right there with his main competitor, 67, the live United Fiber and Data driver, Paul the Dude Morris. Both Australians, both from the Gold Coast, both racing for an international championship, and both swapping paint right here at Watkins Glen International.
Harlan back in that royal purple truck said, you know what, I'm going to get in on this too. Gets back by Brabham, puts Brabham back into that 4th position. But how about this? He's coming back around the outside saying, dude, I'm giving you another challenge here on that side. Drives right by him in turn 5.
Look at, he's going out looking for a little traction, but look at the push. Look at the push in right there in Brabham's truck. You saw him. He was forced to go wide right there. He was turning, but he wasn't hooking up because it's so wet out there. As look at that big roost coming off of Morris's truck right into the cab of Gavin Harlan. Jeff Hoffman in the True Fuel 50-1. He's still in the mix as well. So great racing, just over 2 laps left to go in race number 1 from UFD at the Glen.
Now how about this? Robby Gordon, he loves this. He says, guys, you keep fighting back. Oh, a little contact right there with Richardson
and Hoffman. Hard to say exactly what happened there. I know it happened awfully quick and it looked very violent. Landing off the second jump right there, United Fiber and Data jump, UFD.com ramp. So we're gonna go back and see if we can take another look of exactly what happened to that one. Meanwhile, out in front, they're nice and mellow. Everyone's good. Hoffman gets sideways. Oh, Richardson didn't really have anywhere to go, it seemed like. I don't know if it's necessarily anyone's fault so far. Maybe we can't get another look here on board with Hoffman. He's sideways. Up. Richardson, he was jumping straight. I think so far, I'm going to call that racing. I don't think anyone did anyone dirty on that one on board with Richardson. Where am I going to go? Hoffman, he got sideways in the 51 True Fuel truck. United Fiber and Data of Ironhead, Sean Richardson, he had nowhere to go. So I'm going to call that a racing incident.
Yeah, without a doubt. He just flew. He flew off the jump a little bit farther. He landed, and they contact as soon as they landed. So no harm, no foul, so to speak. They turned around and kept going. So
no harm, no foul, as we're also dry up here in the commentary booth as well. Right. So everything's good for us as we are saying 2 laps left to go. A lap and change a little bit more. Right now we are Gordon, Brabham, Paul the Dude Morris, and Harlan, Bombach right behind him as well. So great racing so far. Does Brabham have what he needs to stay in front of Morris? I think he does. He should be able to, but does he have what it takes to pass Robby Gordon. That's a whole nother ball game as we're about ready to take the white flag. One last and final lap to go around this International Speedway.
And look at Robby trying that low line to keep Brabham out of the draft. Telling Brabham, if you're going to pass me, it's going to be on the outside. And Robbie's staying down low now. Is it an advantage being the lead or second because it's such a big drafting area coming up through these S's and down that straightaway into the inner loop? We're soon to find out. The top three guys are nose to tail.
Well, that is a fine question. Right now is Brabham. He goes to the outside. He wasn't afraid to get into the wet stuff a little bit right there. Is that the right move? As you had mentioned, they go up this really fast section up the hill. Now Brabham, he's back in the lead. He went from first to last and back to first again. Robby Gordon to the inside, Safecraft Safety Equipment, able to make the move. Can he keep it right there as we get in that tight bus stop? Whoa, look it. Here comes Paul the Dude Morris. He's 20 miles an hour faster than anyone else. Hashtag Dude Mower. As he gets into the grass, makes a pass for the lead. Can he hang on to it? He does. Brabham, he jumps into second place. Gordon, he's back into the lead again. That's 4 lead changes within 3 turns.
That was amazing. Robby split the gap, went from third back to first. Paul Morris now in second. Got to remember, we're coming down for the checkered flag right now. What else could happen?
We are only 2 turns and 2 jumps away from deciding who is going to be the winner of race number 1. It has been questionable. We had guys missing jumps. We have guys off into the tourleys all over the place. The track's drying up just a little bit. The who's who of Stadium Super Trucks is 1, 2, and 3. Right now it is KMC Wheels in UFD. Sent him to the finish line. Oh, the rear end is broken. Brabham's truck. The rear end is broken. The number 83 truck. Final turn as they head to the checkered flags. It looks like it's going to be the number 7 of Robby Gordon Safecraft Safety Equipment. Paul the Dude Morris and Brabham rounding out your top 3. What a wild ride.
That was awesome. That was a great finish. How about this little celebration by Robby? Well deserved right there. What a great race.
And what a great race with all the competitors holding together in this weather and things and the rain and so wild stuff. And here's our results, race number 1. So that is Robby Gordon, Morris, and Brabham. That is your top 3. So great job from all of them. Always some great words from Robby Gordon. Let's go down and talk to our winner right now and see what he has to say.
The track conditions made it a bit difficult, so we're obviously running offline where there's no rubber. You know, when I went down on the pass with Brabham, both of us blew turn 1. It's like, I didn't even think I went in that far, and I saw him take off too. So, you know, the racing's good. The truck's put up a good tow, so you can get a big draft like you saw with Paul Morris. And like I said, on the back straightaway on the last lap, I had no idea he was even that close to us. I was so focused on Brabham. We'll have another one tomorrow. Hopefully the rain stays away, but at least everybody's got an idea what Stadium Super Truck is and what kind of races they put on. Thanks.
And yes, they do here in the Northeast for the first time. So here's our points after round 19. Brabham, Morris, Robby Gordon, no surprises there. Let's go down and talk to Paul Morris.
They were side by side coming up through the S's, and then I'd hung back. My visor got all dirty, so I had a rag with me. I took it with it and cleaned it off for the last lap, and then caught them. And they were going probably 20 mile an hour slower than I was, and there was only one place to go, and that was for the grass. It was changing every lap. It was a bit like running a dirt track. It was drying up, and then the alternative line was working. The next lap it wouldn't. So yeah, you just had to search around, and Robby was the guy that found the grip on the last couple of corners that got him the win for sure.
All right, well, stay tuned. Round 20, race number 2 from UFD at the Glen coming up right around the corner. And we are back to United Fiber and Data at the Glen. Stadium Super Trucks racing here. This is Speed Energy's SST getting ready to go into round number 20. Race number 2 of the weekend. Here's your starting grid. Up front, it is the rookie, Steve Kendall. He's sitting on the pole all the way back down to our winners from race number 1 with Robby Gordon all the way back in the 10th position. So exciting stuff. The faster guys in the rear moving on up through the front again as we are on board with Paul Morris right there sitting on the starting grid. Aaron Bombach, he's looking back at Brabham right there, a lot of pressure on him, and Eric Davis sitting in P3 right now. So we're about to go green flag racing as they drop the rag and off we go. This is round number 20, race number 2 here at Watkins Glen International.
And another day in the rain. We think we're going to get it dry. No, rain pours down again. Wet conditions now. The great thing, they all had experience from yesterday. We'll see how turn 1 works out today. Oh, we see Robby Gordon, of all people, overshooting turn 1, finds himself still in that 10th position.
Gordon, he goes wide. Brabham and Dude, they get together again. We weren't even through turn 1 of lap 1. We already saw some contact there from those two competitors. And as Steve Kendall in the Speed Energy Menards Toyo Tires truck, he is running up in front right now. This is his first time, this first weekend in Stadium Super Trucks racing. So starting all the way in the rear yesterday, feeling a little more confident now, saying, all right, I'll start up front with the boys. And running quite well, I might add, for someone that had yet to be on a racetrack in a Stadium Super Truck.
Finds himself in that second position on the outside of Eric Davis, who's been doing this a long time as well. Now they're all packing up down through this inner loop right here. We'll see how they come out after this first round.
Oh! Harlan really hard into the Davis, almost like he didn't like him. I mean, that was, I call him how I see him. And it looked like he stepped right on the loud pedal. Possibly maybe his feet were wet or something. But, man, you don't want to start a fight with Eric Davis.
Yeah,
look at this right here.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what? I think he just slid out. He hit that curbing on the inside, just slid out that little bit, hit Davis. And when it's wet like this, it doesn't take much to turn you around. If it was dry, it probably wouldn't affect him too much. But, yeah, definitely, Eric is in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, absolutely right there. So hopefully all's good in the paddock after this race is over, because I don't think Gavin Harlan wants to be scuffling with Eric Davis. As you see right now, there's True Fuel number 50-1 of the Hoff. Jeff Hoffman, he is side by side with Gavin Harlan as well. Paul Morris, he tries to stick it to the inside. A little bit of contact with 3 trucks. That is the Hoff, Harlan, and the Dude, all getting a little bit of contact there in turn number 1. Toyo Tires sends them flying down the hill. As out in front, Steve Kendall, still looking comfortable. He is a mini-cycle Southern California superstar from back in the day. Now racing a few different things in the desert here and there, and here he is leading Stadium Super Trucks Racing as he gets a look of the DeVillips, number 83 of Matty Brabham. Goes right on by. He was in the bit of the draft right there. So good stuff as they come up the hill right now. Kendall looking comfortable on board with Brabham. Brabham's looking back at the Hoff. He's looking at the Dude. Looking at some fast drivers there. Steve Kendall in the 213. He gets a little squirrely. Once again, I'm going to say Dude Mower back out in the grass again, running in there real hot. Oh, Harlan. Oh, I'm sorry, Harlan. Harlan in the 55 Royal Purple truck.
You know what happened there? He just came off the jump, kind of cocked the wrong direction when he landed. He had no choice but to spin the other direction. But Morris, man, he has been finding the lawn, hasn't he?
Absolutely.
Now, he didn't gain any positions, I don't think, doing that. But right behind him right now is on board right now. I think that's Robby Gordon. But yeah, it is.
Oh.
Look at him pushing him down into turn 6 right now, trying to get around Morris. So you got to remember that the guys that are battling for the championship is that number 7 truck, the number 67 of Morris. But guess what? Brabham, the leader of the points, finds himself in the lead already after 2 laps.
Yeah, that's not good news for anybody out there. You know, we saw earlier this weekend in race 1, Brabham out in front, and he caught himself making a mistake in turn 1 because there's a wet track. Well, you make a mistake one time, shame on you. You make a mistake second time, well, you're just being foolish. And Matty Brabham's not a foolish kid, and so he's going to hang on to it here. I don't think you're going to see him blowing any turns in turn 1 here today. He's out in the lead.
Well, what he wants to see in that rear view mirror is everybody battling behind him, because the more they battle, the more he could actually pull away and relax a little bit. But and you know what? One thing great about this track and the speed that these trucks go, it keeps everybody's just fighting. They're right on top of each other, and you got to remember nothing. They're probably 8-10 seconds off the pace because it's wet.
Yep.
So you can see how fast they're going right now and how far they're flying. When it's dry, these things are amazing as well. But this is really keeping the field tight. Look at 4 guys battling right now coming down that back straightaway.
Look at him using the draft again. That is Morris and Gordon. Gordon going to the inside, coming into the bus stop. He needs to get into turn 5. That's where the comp caution's going to come out. So he wants to be in front of them when they hit that section. So right now that is Brabham, Hoffman, Gordon, and the Dude, and Baumbach. So that brings us into our comp caution right now of number 1. So there will be 2 mandatory competition cautions in this race. We're at lap 3 of 9. So wild stuff happening in the wet tracks here. The weather's not going to get any better, but the racing will as we come back in just a few moments. And ready to restart race number 2 here at UFD at the Glen. That is United Fiber and Data at the Glen as they get ready to grab the green flag. And we get ready to go racing one more time Here at Watkins Glen, that is the first of 2 mandatory competition cautions are now in the record books. We got a handful of laps to go. Let's look at 5 wide going into turn number 1. Robby Gordon, where are you going? The number 7 Safecraft safety equipment truck. He goes way wide right there. That gives our leaders a bit of a break, a little more breathing room, saying, Robby just dropped all the way back. I think maybe going to 8th place.
Yeah, how about that? And what happened? He just went to go wide there to see if he could get an advantage outside of those guys, but you could just see the water was puddled up a little bit there, just not enough traction. And that's how close it is to making it and not making that corner. And you're right, he falls all the way back. I think he went to 8th, he finds himself back in 7th right now.
So that was a big mistake for him. But hey, let's not forget the other, and he's already making up ground right now as he's using the draft. Let's not forget that we saw Matty Brabham in round 19 go from first to last, blowing it in the same turn and coming back and finishing up battling for the win. So let's not count out Safecraft safety equipment number 7 of Robby Gordon right now, because I think we're going to see him battling at least in the top 5 by the time they get down to the checkered flag at a bare minimum.
Without a doubt. And one great thing for these guys, when Robby falls back like that, right now we're on board with Eric Davis right now. Great shot from that always evolving truck. Is he watches Robby right now. He can watch what's Robby doing, where's he faster.
Right.
And you try to learn from that in the back, because that guy, he's the best. And so when he falls back like that, these guys that need a little more experience or are off speed a little bit can learn a lot from him.
Get out your notepad and pen when you see these
man.
guys drop back like that and start taking some notes. You see out in front right now, it is still Brabham. Hoffman, true fuel number 50-1. The Hoff, he's no joke. He's been on the gas this summer as well, all throughout the season, starting all the way back with his first podium in Adelaide, Australia back in March. So we expect to see some more podiums out of him as he's battling for the lead right now. P3, it is Paul the Dude Morris. Gavin Harlan, he stays to the outside of Aaron Baumbach in the Toyo Tires truck. Baumbach almost able to sneak to the inside. So the who's who of Stadium Super Trucks racing is out in front right now, except for Robby Gordon.
And he's coming right now. I think Baumbach is going to get lined up. He's in that draft right now, already gets by him. Next guy in line, Harlan in that royal purple truck. He's coming. Robby's coming and finds himself in 4th right now.
I say using that draft. There's only a handful of drivers in the field that really have had a lot of time and experience racing when the draft is important and knowing how to do it properly. And then you add the rain to it. I would think you see, oh, dude, no surprise, in the lawn again, but it seems to work for him. Gets a little contact there with Hoffman and the dude into the lawn one more time. We've seen the majority of the drivers have tasted a little bit of grass in that section. Look at him, real easy, like he's driving on eggshells. Robby Gordon around the outside of Gavin Harlan. Gavin Harlan's not someone that you just drive by. That's not an easy thing to do.
Not an easy thing to do at all. And same thing, Harlan's going to get behind Robby and say, okay, I'm going to watch what he's doing a little bit. I'll get back up in there. And one great thing, these trucks are all identical.
Yeah.
So everybody that drives these know they have the truck the same as the other guy. It's just their driving style. Another thing with these trucks is they're so durable, right? I mean, look at these things. Look how far they fly and Robby's done such a great job on designing these, finding this little niche to be on these kind of tracks like this with off-road trucks.
Well, let's look earlier today, in the weekend with Bill Hines getting into the water barriers, into the concrete K-rail. He didn't even break a brake line, nothing. That truck landed, it was fine. He's racing just the way it was. They are tough, they're durable. The secret to going fast and Stadium Super Trucks is you gotta be a wheelman. You gotta be smart.
And these things are so fun. You know, I've been fortunate to be able to drive them 2 or 3 times, and one thing about it is it takes time, just like any kind of race car you're in. You can't just get in these things and go to the front because these guys are that good, but you have fun no matter what. And the guys that won, you know, it's Robby, the guys that have a lot of experience, the guys up front.
Yep.
So seat time is so important here.
Absolutely. As we are on board right now with Paul the Dude Morris, he is racing towards our next comp caution, but out in front, he's kind of grabbed another gear this afternoon. That is Brabham, Matty Brabham, the DeVillivis truck, the number 83. So these guys are racing to turn number 5. They got to get to this ramp. Gordon, he's sideways, putting some pressure on Morris. Comp cautions out for that pack of drivers as well. So that is our 2 comp cautions over and done with. We are 6 of 9 laps in. So the who's who are already back up front right now, running towards the checkered flag. So a big action-packed finish is coming up right around the corner here at Watkins Glen. And welcome back to a somewhat rainy, cloudy, yet amazing Watkins Glen International Speedway as we get ready to go green flag racing for the last and final time this weekend with United Fiber and Data at the Glen. Speed Energy Stadium Super Trucks are off and running.
And how about this? Paul Morris going to the inside, Robby Gordon going to the outside, trying to sandwich Matty Brabham. Oh, look at Paul, gets that lead. How about that?
Oh, Harlan spins all on his own.
But meanwhile, first to third was Brabham right now, getting back into that second spot. But Paul, the dude Morris, finds the lead going up the hill. Robby Gordon going to take that outside line, going to try to get by both of them.
We were talking earlier about the draft, and only a few guys in the pack really understand how to use the draft. Well, the three guys that do are out in front right now.
How about the guy in the safety truck? I mean, he's won a NASCAR, an IndyCar, he's been all over, and he knows drafting. And right now, but the third guy in line, Matty Brabham, has the most advantage of the draft. But where's he going to go? There's a truck in front of him. On both sides, he's going to try that inside of Robby Gordon. We'll see how it comes out.
Look at Jeff Hoffman, just perched and ready in that True Fuel 50-to-1 truck. He's watching these top three drivers out here. He's like, yeah, I'm learning something. Yeah, I'm up to the pace to do what I need to do here, but I just need one of you guys to make a mistake. I'm going to capitalize on all three of you.
And Matty Brabham goes from first to third, back to first by turn 5 right here. Paul Morris comes off that second jump, just a little bit too hard, slides up. Matty finds his way right to the bottom. We can see Matty and Gordon going super wide, but Paul Morris trying that inside line, and you still see all the water. So you got to remember, Matty Brabham's got a clear shield. The guys behind him all have water on their shield, and it's not that easy to see.
Absolutely, and that's also part of the draft as well. If you get up close up to one another, some of that water is going to go underneath you and not over you, but it's puddled right up, and we'll see a lot of these guys are taking different lines we saw earlier in the race. They're looking for traction. The track's somewhat drying up in some places and sometimes not in others. Right now, Matt Brabham, he's far enough out where these guys are like, well, we can't draft off him. So he's where he needs to be. He's running his own race right now. And so Morris and Gordon are like, we need him to screw up in order to catch him. He found another gear that we don't have. And that's going to make a big difference as this race goes on. There are no more competition cautions. Speaking of caution, look out Eric Davis as he goes real wide in the always evolving truck right now. First big mistake we've seen of Eric Davis, but only a couple laps left to go, so that's bad news for him.
Yeah, probably just tried a different line right there, got in too hot, as we've seen a lot of guys do. But meanwhile, Robby Gordon comes off that first jump pretty sideways right now, going to try to draft Paul the Dude Morris going down into the inner loop right now, gets inside of him for that second position. We'll see if he can hold it or if the dude's going to take the grass again.
Oh, and he very well may. I'm surprised that we hadn't seen the Dude and Robby Gordon use each other to gain that 20 miles an hour and push each other up to catch Brabham. But the draft worked obviously a little bit because they closed up the gap a fair amount, but the Dude got left behind a little bit here. So yeah, that's hard work. I mean, if anyone's got a pretty big bag of tricks, I should say, Paul the Dude Morris, he's going to reach down in there and find and do what he needs to do to catch up to Robby Gordon.
Yeah, and we thought that Matty Brabham was going high, but did you see how far Robby went? He went all the way out to that wall in that runoff area. He's now putting the pressure on Matty Brabham, and let me tell you, when you got Robby behind you, it doesn't matter. It's all for fun, but the pressure's on, and our points leader wants to win this race right now. That's Matty Brabham.
Absolutely, I do. There's a lot of money, a lot of high fives, a lot of talking back and forth with each other in the paddock about winning the championship here. So it's important to these guys. And the white flag is out. We are going into our last and final lap here. As we mentioned, there's a championship on the line. Matty Brabham, he's in the lead right now in the race and in the championship. Robby Gordon, he's trying to upset the championship right now and steal it away from both Brabham and the Dude. So a lot of money, a lot of bragging lights on the line right now.
Without a doubt. And you see Robby right behind Matty going into turn 1, but we can see Robby's truck a little bit sideways right there. That is not the way of speed. You want to keep it as straight as possible. Matty, he's trying to do that, but meanwhile, you see Robby just out there trying to find that speed. He's going to draft him down this straightaway going into inner loop. And wow, Brabham is where he wants to be right now because it's a little too far for him to draft and pass and get into that inner loop.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, we are literally 40 feet off of a big draft coming into play and Brabham getting past going into that turn right there. So he had just what he needed to. Hey,
all three guys go through the grass.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't winning. As all three of them go through the grass for no reason other than the fact of we're on the last lap of the last race here at Watkins Glen International Speedway. We've only got 2 turns to go and 2 big jumps. Matty Brabham, he just steals Robby Gordon's line right now. He goes way wide, says, I know where you're gonna be. I'm gonna go there too. Robby Gordon, he goes wide. Dude, he sticks to his line. I think there's enough room for Brabham to be able to hang on to it. Look at him, nice, calm, cool, collective, just as the Brabhams do in any form of race cars. Nice and easy. Yesterday we saw him break a shock here. He's good, nice and clean, 1 big turn to go. Gordon's gonna push as hard as he can, but I don't think he's got what it takes to beat Matty Brabham today, and the checkered flags fly for the developers number 83 of Matty Brabham. P2 is Robby Gordon, P3, Paul the Dude Morris, same three we saw on the podium in round 19, just in a different order. So very exciting stuff here from Watkins Glen International Speedway. And in just a few moments, we'll be back to talk to our winner. And whoa!
Stadium Super Trucks on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by KMC Wheels, precision for imprecise environments. And by Speed Energy, fuel the need for speed.
And we are back, United Fiber and Data at the Glen. This is Speed Energy Stadium Super Trucks. And there is our winner, Matty Brabham, the winner of race number 2 in the number 83 Developers Trucks. Let's take a moment and look up the results for round 20 here. These are the final results. Matty Brabham, Robby Gordon, Paul Morris, they're on the podium. Bill Hines, he rounds out your top 10. Great racing. Let's take a moment to go down and talk to our winner, Matty Brabs.
I think it's more fun in the wet there. It's like kind of like these things are used to the dirt, probably designed for the dirt, but I mean they do just as well on the wet tracks. And I mean there's so much fun sliding these things around. I mean we got 600 horsepower in this DeVilliers truck, and you can pretty much wheel spin anywhere around the track, even going down the back straight at top speed. So I had a blast out there. I think I was just able to find the grip a little bit more than the other guys behind me. I know Robby was quicker in some parts of the track and I was better in others, and just really happy to get the win. I mean, what a battle we had yesterday and today. Very happy to get these 2 finally and put on the top step.
Well, congratulations to our winner, Matty Brabham. Here are points after round 20. Matthew Brabham and Paul Morris are having a great close race here. Robby Gordon, Gavin Harlan, and Sheldon Creed round out your top 5. And some wild action here from UFD at the Glen. Seen a lot of contact, a lot of great racing.
And never disappointed with SST. A fantastic show as always, and as Matty said, a little more exciting than the rain even.
Absolutely it was. Good stuff for United Fiber and Data at the Glen at Speed Energy Stadium Super Trucks. For Davey Hamilton, I'm Sean Cermony. We're looking forward to seeing you at round 21.